Hey you guys, I had a thought today that I wanted to add on like as an addendum to my last video when I was talking about separation versus oneness, and not so much about with twin flames, although a little bit with twin flames, but also just about like on our own, because there's so many spiritual teachers that talk about oneness and we are one with source, and we have our knowing from within and our connection to source. And that goes along with the twin flame talk about, separation is an illusion. We're always with our twin flame and the 5D and all that stuff. So, hold on. Sorry about the background noise. So yeah, I had another thought about that because when I work with my pendulum and I'm having spirit conversations, I really can actually distinctly tell the difference between spirits. So yes, it's true that we are all connected to source. We all go back to source, and our knowing comes within from source. But there is still differentiation between different spirits. I mean, we know that there are many different types of spirits anyway, between elementals and ghosts and galactic beings and spirit guides. I mean, there's tons of different types of spirit guides and angels and loved ones, ancestors, and ascended masters. And then there's probably more that I don't even know of. So, when you take into consideration that we know there are all these different types of spirits, that alone, tells you, like, even though we, have to understand the oneness theory and that we all go back to source anyway, there's still differentiation. So yes, we all go back to source, and we are one with source, but there are still different dimensions and different densities that has the existence of all these different types of spirits. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking out loud here, to be honest, but more and more I feel like it's almost like doing a disservice to yourself to not take that into consideration. Like, understand the theory, understand what it means, but we still exist in the third density, and we still exist where there is separation between the different types of beings. So we still have to take that into consideration. You can't ignore that. That's just what I'm feeling like, that you can't ignore that that's still the reality that we are living in. Have the understanding that we are one with source, and ultimately we connect and go back to source, but also have the understanding that there's still differentiation where we are and what we're doing. So, and I just say that because, like, the other night I was having a conversation with Jesus. As you guys know, I go directly to Jesus majority of the time. I was having a conversation with him about something. I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't actually anything important. I was just asking random questions. I think I was asking about health stuff for myself. Like, I recall asking him, like, how much time I should spend in the sun because of, like, the downloads and the codes that we get from the sun. And if anybody's curious, he told me that I should spend 30 minutes in the sun a day. And it doesn't matter if it's cloudy out, because you still receive the same codes. So I was like, that's actually a good practice to make. Like, just sitting outside for 30 minutes, I can ground myself, I can meditate. Well, my best friend walked in the room and my twin called me, and I have no idea what I was saying. But I think I was talking about when I'm working with my pendulum. Oh, I think I was saying about what Jesus told me. So he said that I should spend 30 minutes outside a day. And I was like, oh, that's perfect, because I can ground myself. I can either meditate or do energy healing and receive the sun downloads. So anyway, so I was talking to him about that. And this happens occasionally for me. Spirit will interrupt me. I can tell from the energy on the pendulum how it's moving, like generally who I'm talking to, or at least that it's who I'm used to. Jesus's energy is kind of mellow, but it's also extremely powerful. His energy makes me very, very tired usually, or it used to. Not so much anymore. I'm more used to it. But his energy is very draining. And someone else told me the exact same thing when she started communicating with him, that it makes you very tired very quickly because his energy is so powerful channeling through you. So I'm used to his, and that's who I usually talk to. But I was interrupted by another spirit, and I can tell because they make the pendulum shake in a way. I think of it as like they're fighting over it. Like, no, I'm going to talk. No, I'm going to talk. And it makes it shake. And so eventually I was like, who's trying to talk to me? What are you trying to say? What's going on? And it was Archangel Zadkiel, and he was interrupting me to give me a message. So fine. But I was reflecting on that earlier today, and I was thinking, wait, that is just even more proof of, despite the whole oneness theory, like there is still differentiation between the different types of spirits, because I can tell who I'm talking to and they identify themselves to me. When I'm talking to spirit, the different spiritual beings identify themselves to me. In the past, I have even had times where a negative spirit has come through, and I always catch them because I know how to connect and how to ask who I'm talking to and confirm who it is. And so like they can't lie to me and trick me, like I catch them. But so I've had times where demons and ghosts have come through and I catch them. So that's just more like example of there is still differentiation between different spirits where we are and how we are connecting. So we still have to take that into consideration. Even with my new pendulum, I immediately channeled a crystal fairy with the crystal and the pendulum. And when I started connecting with it, it was a little like I had to get used to working with it. And I spoke to her and I asked her to make sure that it moves like clearly for me. And literally, like as soon as I spoke to her, the pendulum started moving differently, and it was much more sharp and distinct with its movements. And I could see the difference just from when I asked her to do that. So it's evidence to me, evidence that I can see, that is palpable, that tells me there are still like different spirits here that are around us, that work with us, that we communicate with. So we have to take both into consideration, that, you know, our intuition connects back to source and connects back to our higher self and our spirit guides, but you can actually have conversations with the different types of spirit guides who are with us. And that's important to remember, especially when you're not paying super close attention about who you are speaking to and who you're communicating with. Because from what I have seen, from what clients have told me, you can end up communicating with the wrong spirit guides who are not guiding you well. And a lot of people don't even realize that. And they are getting bad information from spirit guides that are not spirit guides of the highest light and for our highest best. And it's leading them astray, or it's confusing them, or making them, honestly, even like depressed or thinking the worst, when that's not necessarily true. So galactic spirit guides can even sometimes be like that, because even though we think they're galactic, so they must be like pretty knowledgeable or whatever, that might be the case. But if they're not of the highest light and for our highest best, they might not be giving us the best guidance, or they might be giving us guidance based on what they know and understand based on their world that is not true for us or 100% correct for us. Like that's one thing that I've been told about someone before. I had asked about a different spiritual teacher before, and Jesus told me that she was channeling from a specific I don't remember what dimension it was, like 8th dimensional beings from a specific world, and that's what they were used to for the world that they were from. But that was not true for Earth. What they were telling her was not true for Earth. So these are all different things that we need to take into consideration and remember. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys, because it's not like all one way, basically. And we have to take all of these things into consideration when we are communicating with spirit and when we are getting messages from other people. So anyway.